About a little after 1:15 today, one of my detectives, Rocky Howard, and a Tampa police officer, William Mackler, were at a gathering, a social gathering, an informal social gathering here in the neighborhood of Suncoast Boulevard and Orchard Way. And a lady came up who was naked and acting a little bit irrational. They asked her to leave, and after a little bit of confrontation, she did leave. And the detective called the sheriff's office to let them know that there was a lady in the area who was acting irrational and naked. A short time later, she came back with a weapon and confronted both the Tampa police officer and my sheriff's office detective, at which time they one or both fired their weapons, and she is deceased. And that all occurred around 1:15 this afternoon.
Can you give us any information on what was going on with this woman in terms of what was causing her to be irrational?
That's way too early to tell. I can tell you that she was not part of the gathering, nor was she invited to the gathering. So it wasn't like she was part of the group. So she actually came up uninvited.
Can you tell us what kind of weapon she had?
I can't release any of that information. It's all the investigation, the criminal investigation, because anytime a sheriff's office deputy is involved in a shooting, we have FDLE come in and do the criminal investigation. So they'll be taking it from here. So the information we can give out right now is very preliminary, and they'll be releasing the rest of it as time goes on.
Can you give us any indication as to why they had to use deadly force, though?
Well, again, she came with a weapon, and I would surmise that they felt that their life was in danger, and I'm sure that will come out in the investigation.
Approximately how many people were at the gathering?
It was a handful. It was several people. There were several witnesses to it.
Is it like a barbecue?
It was just a family. I don't know exactly
Okay.
what it was, but it was a social gathering at a private residence.
If this lady's running around naked here down the street, we could only assume that she's probably from this neighborhood. Do you have any other information on her?
I can't release any information on her until we notify next to kin and gather some more information. It's all very preliminary right now.
Was this a young woman? Was it an older woman?
I really can't release that right at this time. I don't want to give away anything that might give her identity away until we notify next to kin.
Did she target the two officers, or was she?
No, I don't think she was necessarily targeting the information. I don't have information that she was doing that. It's just that she was acting irrational, and
What do you mean by irrational?
she was just acting irrational. It was obvious that, being naked, and she was not in her right mind.
Was this a law enforcement party, or just those are the two representatives of the law enforcement?
I don't know if any other law enforcement officers were here, but it was not a law enforcement specific party. It wasn't just law enforcement.
Your officer, your deputy, suspended?
Yeah, he'll be put on administrative leave with pay. It's a routine procedure to go through anytime they're involved in a shooting, he should be, depending on the outcome, he should be back at work within a few days if everything works out okay.
Was there alcohol at this party? Were they drinking? Do we know?
I don't know, but I don't have any indication they were.
Is it pretty common for law enforcement officers from any agency to, have their weapons with them a lot of times?
Yes, they really almost always do for a couple different reasons. One, in case something happens, they're going to be expected by those people who know they're in law enforcement to take some sort of action, but they also keep it for self-protection, because you never know when you're going to run into somebody that you may have had some dealings with. That's not the case here necessarily, but you never know when you're going to run into somebody you've had dealings with who may want to do you harm. So.
And without making any statements on who was in the right or who was in the wrong, at this point it looks like they could have possibly saved some lives today in terms of...
Well, it's way too early to say that, but there was obviously enough there to indicate that she was irrational, and that it was a very unusual situation that they were confronted with.
Can you talk about, no deputy, no officer ever wants to have to use deadly force. What is your deputy specifically going through right now in terms of...
Obviously, anytime you take another life, it's going to affect an individual, and that's why we do have services available for them to make sure that they are able to have somebody to talk to and make sure that if they need it, and they will be cleared. At least my deputy, before returning to work, will be cleared by a psychiatrist to make sure that there are no issues, and if there's any issues, obviously we take it. But you know, I talked briefly to both of them, and they both seem to be doing relatively well, all things considered.
How did these two officers know each other?
They are acquaintances.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think they're related, but they're acquaintances. They're friends, as far as I know.
You
Have
say
you spoken
that
with Chief
one.
Castor yet?
I'm
Have
sorry?
you spoken with Chief Castor yet?
Yeah, I have not spoken with her directly, but I know that we've been talking to their internal affairs. Their internal affairs is obviously involved in this, and they're working with my major crimes as well as FDLE, and my internal affairs are all working together on this. So Tampa PD is definitely well aware of what's going on.
You said one or both of the officers fired. Was it one or was it both
Well,
of them?
well, we're still in the process of that, and we're sorting out exactly who fired and how much, and so it's a little early for us to release that information at this time.
But you know if a gun was used.
Yeah, I understand it, but we're just not releasing that at this time.
Okay. Is the other officer on administrative leave as well?
I believe so, yes. We have talked to Tampa PD, and he is on administrative leave as well, routine administrative leave.
Can you give us any background on your deputy in terms of just how long he's been around with it?
He's been with us since 2006, and he is a detective, and he has by all indications, he has a great record. He's a good man. I know him. So.
Has he ever had to use deadly force?
Not that I know of. I don't think so, but I'm being told no, he has not.
Just a bizarre situation.
Yeah, very bizarre situation, but.
You don't expect this out here and out in the country, just minding your own business at a party. I mean,
it was very unusual. There's no doubt about that, and I'm sure the investigation will reveal more as we talk to, you know, people that she knows, as well as the witnesses that were here that saw it. But you have to understand that these things take a lot of time. Just talking to witnesses can take hours and hours, and then of course you have to talk to the law enforcement officers. And the forensics, my forensics team is working with FDLE. They'll be out here for several hours collecting all the evidence to make sure that we thoroughly investigate it. So there's no question about what actually happened.
Just so we're clear, you haven't identified the victim yet.
No, we have not identified that. We need to make notification to next of kin, and as soon as we're able to, working with FDLE, we'll get that information out. But I don't suspect it coming out tonight. Okay.